Hey guys, Chris Peterson here. I wanted to give you guys another chess commentary video. As you can see, this game is going to be a game 15 rather than a game 5 or game 3 or anything like that. It's been a while since I've done any videos. I was planning on working with Brian on a new video, but we didn't get that one going quite yet. And well, this game is taking a while to get going. RazorsEdge 1632 on 1715. So this game is being played in the 15-minute pool on ICC. So I guess we'll just see how I do. I'm also, well, part of the reason why I haven't been doing videos lately is because I've been busy with school. I am just a freshman in college at the University of Colorado, and it's pretty time consuming, so that's what's going on there. Yeah, so I'm doing like 18 credit hours or something. But anyway, let's talk about the game while it's being played here. So this opening is some kind of Sicilian defense. I'm not exactly sure what went on here. E4 C5. So it's kind of like a, I guess it's kind of morphing into a Nadorf type position, but I guess I can take my time here and try to figure out what I want to do. I lost my phone. So my king is kind of safe right now, but later on in the future it could be very difficult to protect it, because both of his bishops are going to be pointing right towards my king, and if he castles kingside, I'm going to have a tough time attacking him over there. So probably what I'm going to have to do is play for something like, I don't know, maybe Queen E2 and then F5 perhaps, to try to break open the center. Because the thing is, I won't have much play on the queen side, so I'm going to have to play either on the king side or down the center. And this is usually how my games go anyway, is I end up having nothing on one side of the board, so I'm kind of forced into doing something on the other side of the board. That's okay. Maybe I can play F5 now, so that way I can potentially bring my bishop out to G5. But with his knights supporting each other like that, it doesn't seem like my bishop is going to do much there. If he does trade, however, bishop f4 would be pretty good, putting pressure on the d6 pawn. So I think, well, I don't really know where my queen or bishop want to go quite yet. If I play f5 and he pushes e5, then I know I have to focus all my attention on e4, and I can reroute my knight to f3 and potentially hop into g5 later, and then perhaps trade with knight h5, bringing my queen out. But yeah, but right now I'm not sure what to do with my queen's bishop or my queen, so I think f5 now to try to determine the pawn structure right away, so that way I can figure out where I want to put my pieces. So I expect he's either going to push or he's going to castle. He can't really castle, I guess, because I'll take twice and fork his queen and rook, whichever way he castles. So he has to do something about that move. He can't let me take, so I'll just take twice unless he defends it again. But the only way to defend it again is to play like knight f8, knight c5, or king e7. And none of those really seem too good. Well, maybe knight c5 seems like an okay idea. It doubles up his attack on e4, and he also attacks my bishop on d3. But I think if he plays knight c5, I can just play pawn takes e6. And if he takes my e4 pawn, I can just take on f7 check, in between move. And if he takes back with a pawn, then he won't be able to take my e pawn without dropping his e pawn. So it'll be kind of a trade there. And it'll also open up the f file for me, which will be good since I have a rook developed and he doesn't have one yet. So the other option is he could play e5, and then I have a choice. I can play either knight b3 or I can play knight f3. The thing I don't like about knight b3 is I don't really have anything on the queen side right now. So putting my knight over there to support nothing is kind of pointless. So I'm going to probably go knight f3 and try to perhaps put pressure on f7 with knight g5 and bishop c2 to b3. So that's one option that I could do. It'll be interesting to see how he responds. So he plays e5, and the plan was to go knight f3. If he goes knight c5 right away, okay, well, he didn't go knight c5, so I don't have to worry about that. So now I have to figure out how I want to continue. One thing he could potentially try is knight g4, but I think after just queen e2, that kind of stops everything. So maybe I can just play queen e2 right away, and that way I won't have to worry about dropping my e-pawn if he decides to drop in to knight c5. And that'll give me a chance to back up my bishop, perhaps all the way back to b1. It might be prudent for it to go back to b1 and then slide into a2. So I think queen e2 will be good. It'll maintain the defense of e4, as well as prevent any ideas of knight g4 to f2 ideas that he might have. Now I can decide what to do with my dark squared bishop. Because if I can get my dark squared bishop out and get my rook out of there, then bishop to b1 makes a lot more sense. Although if I can go bishop c2, b4, and then bishop b3 and put a lot of pressure on f7, that would be good as well. But right now I have to worry about how I'm going to figure out how I'm going to attack him here. So he's still in the center, which is kind of disturbing. I don't really want him to be there. So I need to get him to move somehow. The center is completely locked right now. Well, it's locked for me. I have no way to pry open the center, short of sacrificing a knight or something. But I don't want to do that right now. Maybe later. But one thing I could try is maybe just bishop g5. Bishop takes knight. But that's kind of lame, I think. So bishop e3 would be trading my good bishop for his bad bishop, so I might want to hold off on that. Although it might be important for me to get rid of his dark squared bishop, because it is such a powerful bishop right now. But meanwhile, he is putting a lot of pressure on e4. Maybe he also has ideas of pushing b4, I don't know yet. One thing that I tell my students a lot is to always try to figure out what their idea is behind their last move, so that you can determine whether or not it's going to kill you or not. And as far as I can tell, rook c8 is just putting the rook on the half-open file. Other than that, I'm not sure what... It doesn't look like he has any tactical shots in mind. So I might just... Well, if I go knight g5, he can just play h6, and then my knight has to retreat immediately, so I don't want to do that. So probably just bishop g5, get my bishop out of there, so that way I can connect my rooks and everything should be a little more hunky-dory for me. So now I would expect him to castle here. I don't really see what else. Castling kingside might be kind of dangerous for him, so he might try something like h5, h4. But that seems kind of risky for most players, so I wouldn't expect him to play that. But as far as I'm concerned, his position's a lot better than mine right now. If I had a chance to ideally place my pieces, probably put my bishop on b3, a knight on g5, my a rook on d1, and that's about it. So if I can somehow work that out to get that position, that would be great. But he's probably going to be castling, so it's kind of a moot point anyway. Although if he does castle here, it's kind of a pretty easy setup for me to attack. Because all I have to do is play bishop takes knight, then knight g5, and then knight h5, and it's very rudimentary attack. So, because I'll already have pressure on h7 and f7, So it's going to be very difficult for him to defend that necessarily. So we'll just have to see what he does. So meanwhile, my king is fairly safe. He's got a lot of play on the queen side. For example, he could play like, well, maybe just knight c5 here is pretty good for him. But that would, I could double his pawns on his f pawns, so that maybe not so good. One interesting option for him would be pawn to d5, trying to blast open the center, but his king is kind of in the center, so I'm not sure if that would be wise of him to do. I'd probably just take and then play rook a to e1 and just pile up on the e pawn. So I don't see how he can defend it. Well, I guess he could play knight takes. Okay, so if he plays d5 and I play e takes d5, he can play knight takes d5, and then if I play rook a to e1, he can play f6. So that would definitely be a way to defend it for him. So I wouldn't want that to happen. And then I could probably play like knight h5 perhaps. The knight h5 will attack g7 and f6, so we'll probably have to castle there. Then after he castles, yeah, I'm not sure what I would do. Maybe I'd just back up bishop c2, trying to put my bishop on b3, so that way it's eyeing his king, but that's a little bit in the future. We'll have to see what he does. I don't want to get too far ahead, just in case things don't go that way. You know? If they start happening that way, that seems like it'll be the natural way for them to happen. So, well, I could also in between move a move like f6, so that way when he takes, his pawn structure is even more messed up. So what I'm thinking is d5, pawn takes d5, knight takes d5. Then I can throw in the move f6, and if he plays pawn takes f6, I can go bishop h6, and he won't be able to castle, so that would be good. He played h6, so he's attacking my knight. I mean my bishop, and I can't. If I back up to h4, he's going to play g5. Then I can en passant. G5 en passant. That opens up the f file for me, so I don't think he'll want to do that. I think I'll just back up. Though he might be happy to get the G file open, I'm not sure. Seems like h6 is kind of a weird move to me. Although it is gonna put defense on that g5 square, so my knight can never hop into there. Alright, so now he played knight to c5. So I might as well double up his pawns now. And now I think knight h5 is a pretty good move because it's attacking his f6 pawn. If he wants to hang on to it, he'll have to, I don't know, play queen e7 or something. Oh, whoa, whoa, whoa. I think I might want to put pressure on f6 some more. Let me see if I can figure out how to do that. One potential plan for me would be a move like knight h4, and then sacrificing it on g6 at some point. But that seems pretty far-fetched to me. If I can get a knight on g6 check, pawn takes, he'll have a tough time defending f6. And that's all I have to do is give up a knight for that, so that's not too bad. And then my queen can start coming in via g4. So that seems pretty handy. Maybe that might be a good plan for me. So I'm just going to back up my bishop for now. And perhaps I can play rook a to d1, then knight to h4. And so he thinks he's making progress here, but I'm not so sure. My e-pawn is well defended. Maybe I'll just hold off on that. I'll just play rook a to d1, try to restrict his movement a little bit. And now he is playing a bad move. So he put his rook on g4, but I don't think that's a great move. Because now I can play this move knight takes. Well, I can play knight takes e5, and I'm attacking his knight. He can't play, if he plays knight takes, I can play knight takes rook, and then he has no checks with his knight, so that's a plus. If he plays rook takes, I just play bishop takes, and then my knight is free to get out of there. So he's kind of giving me everything that I want right now. He can't even defend his rook with rook hg8, because I'll just play knight takes rook, so I'm not sure he's too happy with what's happening here. At least I wouldn't be if I was him. And now queen g7 is going to be pretty devastating for him as well, so I'll be attacking his rook and attacking f6 at the same time. So I'm not really sure what he's going to do here. Oh, okay, so he's defending f6 now, and he's also attacking e4 pretty heavily. So I think I'm still going to play this move, I think, because it seems pretty strong. And now I can probably, once he, pretty sure he's going to retreat the rook somewhere. I can probably just throw my rook into d5, and that will kind of obstruct his control of the d file. The a8 h1 diagonal, and if he ever moves his queen, f6 hangs. So I don't think he'll be able to do that. So this is kind of an interesting game at this point. I mean, what am I, up in exchange, and we're kind of attacking each other, but I think my attack is probably a little bit more sound at this point. I think he missed his opportunity with that rook g4 move. Like if he would have played something like queen c6 first, he probably would have had a better shot in this position, but I'm not so sure. So not sure what he's going to do. I can't imagine he's going to play knight takes pawn. Yeah, I didn't think so. So now I think rook d5 is good. If he plays knight takes pawn, just bishop takes, and everything's still defended. If he can't move his queen, so I'll just take f6. He's really bogged down now. It's getting pretty ugly at this point. Although knight takes e4, he could play something like queen c4. That attacks both my bishop and rook, but I think just queen takes f6 check is going to be mate. So queen takes f6. Queen takes f6 check, king e8, and then knight g7 is mate. So he's in big trouble here. And it's not so much that he's tactically losing at this point. It's just he was in such a big bind that he really didn't have anything left to do. So this is going to be checkmate. And yeah, so that was my first 15-minute game on ICC in a long time. I've been playing some Blitz to try to get warmed up, but that was my first game. So also I'm going to add an introduction video to this, so let me know what you guys think of that. I spent a little bit of time making it, but not a whole lot. And I'm also thinking of doing, well, I've already actually started working on it. Some of you guys might have already seen some of the production of that, but I'm also going to be working on a kind of like a beginner chess lesson type videos. It's going to be a series called Beginning Chess, and it's going to have a whole bunch of chapters, and the beginning chapters are going to be really kind of boring and very simple things like how to play chess, stuff like that. But as we get further and further along, I'm going to be discussing tactics, strategy, position, all these really interesting things, and perhaps I'll be able to play more on ICC and get some more videos like this up, because I would like to see my rating go higher. Never imagined an online rating would be lower than live rating, but whatever. Alright, I'll see you guys next time.